What's going on, everybody? Josh Pocock here, founder and CEO of Executive Stride. And in the last couple days, I guess, in the last week, I did 3 different videos, and I've been getting a lot of different questions or comments about these videos, but this is addressing that, right? So I did a video on Morphic AI, I did a video on LLM Answer Engine, and I did a video on Perplexica. And if you can see by, even just if you haven't watched these yet, I'll leave them in the description down below so you can check these individually out if you want as well. But as you can see on the top right, it's Xing out Perplexity, and each one of these is essentially supposed to be a free open source LLM alternative for Perplexity, right? A lot of people don't want to be paying for Perplexity, but they love the concept of a AI that is connected to search, right? So I did these videos showing you potential alternatives, and then that led to the question with people who were watching this channel or found these videos saying, okay, well, which one should I choose? Do I choose Perplexica? Do I choose LLM Answer Engine? Or do I choose Morphic? Hey, Josh, can you do a comparison video? And hey, maybe could you also show us how to host these on something like Coolify? So we're going to dive into that, answer those questions, and do some tests and kind of see which one you should choose, whether it's one of these open source ones, whether it's Perplexity. We're going to do an in-depth analysis. Let's dive right into it. All right, guys. So yeah, like I said, been getting a lot of kind of questions around those 3 videos, and yeah, I've been also seeing a lot of growth recently. Not a crazy amount, but slowly but steady, but surely we're growing this channel. So I appreciate all the new subscribers, all the new support. We're going to keep going. If you're new here, we upload videos every single day on AI, automation, business growth, marketing, sales, etc. So definitely, if you get some value from here, definitely I would appreciate smashing that subscribe button, smashing the like button, and joining the growth of this channel. Anyways, so Perplexity right here. If you don't know about Perplexity, essentially it allows you to do somewhat more of like a Google search, and it's connected with the AI. And I'm not going to explain in depth. This video kind of has the assumption that you kind of already know a bit about Perplexity. You maybe saw some of those other videos. If you didn't see any of those other videos, don't worry. This is a great video to get started on. And then if you want to dive deeper into specific ones, let's say like you watch this video and after we do these tests and whatnot, you maybe see, hey, I like Perplexica, or I like Morphic, right? Then maybe you watch one or both of those videos next in the description down below. Okay, so here is the criteria first off that we're going to kind of go by. And it's not, I just want to say one thing as a kind of somewhat of a disclaimer. This test isn't going to be perfect, all right? I'm not going to measure everything like in a very perfect manner, right? So you guys can watch me do this, and maybe you'll say, hey, I actually think the way you did that should have been marked this way, or hey, I would have gave Morphic a 10 out of 10 instead of like a 7 here. Okay, so that's completely, you know, that's I actually want you guys to do that, because then you'll kind of be able to see what one you resonate with most. You're just going to kind of see me go through these tests and kind of try to evaluate it myself. And hopefully you're kind of doing that as well as you're watching it. This is giving you a good structure and a good kind of ranking system that you can use while evaluating what you want to use. All right, so we have about 7 different metrics here, and some of these are going to be easier to actually like precisely evaluate than others. All right, so things like, as you can see, resource utilization. I'm not necessarily going to like dive in and see exactly what system is using more of my CPU or whatnot. This I'm kind of just going to basically let you know based on the installation and what like for example, one of these off like I did a video yesterday on Ragflow. If you haven't watched that and you're into rags, check that out. But that install, like, it took a long time because it was a big, like, it actually required a big amount of RAM on your system and this sort of thing. So some of these maybe are a bit more than others, but honestly, to be honest, they're kind of similar, but we'll dive into that. But here, let's just look at the metrics. So we got installation and setup, and then we have the description. So the ease of installation and setup process of each tool, note any dependencies, configuration, setup, and overall time it takes to get started. All right. Next is user interface and usability. So evaluate the user interface of each tool. Check for intuitiveness, ease of use, navigation, and overall user experience, and just overall what looks the best, right? And then performance and speed. So measure the performance and speed of each tool. Test how quickly they can process and return results on a variety of tasks. And then customization and flexibility. Access the level of customization and flexibility each tool offers. Look for features that allow you to tweak settings, add plugins, or integrate with other tools. And mostly by that, a lot of it is like, hey, what LLMs can you actually link with this? All right, can you link Olamas with these? Like some of these ones, can do some of these support Olama? Do some of these not? Are some of these, you know, are just like what LLMs can you link? And what's kind of the customization? Can you customize the embedding model and all that good stuff? And then documentation and support. So review the documentation and available support for each tool, and check for comprehensiveness, clarity, and availability of community or developer support. And we'll also look at the repo too. Maybe check out, like, we're not going to dive so in depth, but just quickly look at the repo, maybe some of the documentation, the community, and just kind of see like what looks like it would actually maybe be there for the long term, instead of just like a repo that, hey, we're a free Perplexity alternative and it's maybe not going to be there for, you know, in like 5-6 months from now. And then resource utilization, like we talked about. Measure the resource utilization of each tool, including CPU, memory, and storage usage. Just helps understanding the efficiency and scalability of the tools. And then price. Now, the only reason I include this is because I'm also I'm not going to do like as much testing on Perplexity as I am on these three, but I will include Perplexity just in here. So pretty much like, just so you can kind of see as well, like if you haven't, just so you can see how these compare to Perplexity, right? So obviously Perplexity, like for these ones, like they would score already by default a 10 on price just because they're free. And then Perplexity, honestly, like maybe it's like a 4, let's say, or 3. I don't know. It's about $20, 20 to whatever, $20 US, I think, a month, something like that. And so yeah, like I said, these scores aren't going to be perfect. You know, you may disagree with certain things, but I hope this just serves as kind of a base. Also, too, we're going to look at this isn't really something that like I would necessarily compare one being better than the other, which is why I didn't include it on here. But we're just going to look at the tech stack, like which ones are built in a certain way. Maybe I'll even just, I'm not going to make this, I can't, no. So we'll just look at like, okay, is this one using Next.js? This one's using Next.js. This one's using like, what's the UI components made out of? Like, just kind of see the build on it, as well as like, this kind of goes within this though. We'll touch on like how they can be installed and all that stuff. So let's just dive into the first one, installation and setup, right? So I'm not going to dive into the whole installation and setup process of each one of these. If you really want to see that, because I don't want to make this video like an hour long, and I did maybe like a 15-20 minute video on each one, right? So I'm going to walk through this is the GitHub, and I will leave the GitHub links as well as all the doc links for each one of these in the description down below. So in the description down below, you'll have all the resources you need to like, as well as watching this video, to make a smart decision. And so like you'll have the other video, the individual videos I made for each one of these videos, linking to it. You'll have the GitHub repo for each one of these, and then you'll have the documentation and any other stuff I reference in the description down below. Okay, so first off, we have Perplexica here. So okay, I'm not gonna read through that. Okay, so now also too, I guess like maybe one more thing I should just add here is features. I'm just going to add that because some of these actually do have more features than others, and some actually do have limited features. And I would definitely say this is like a big, definitely a huge thing for sure. So I'm not going to put a description here. You guys get the point. And like you'll see, for example, like Perplexica, I'm not gonna lie, is pretty good because it has co-pilot mode, which is in development. But yeah, and I'm also gonna, I did fork these repos, but I will go to the main repo just so we can see some of these stuff in just a second when we look into the the issues and feedback and whatnot and see how engaged everything is. Okay, so let's see. So installation. So I'm not gonna lie, like all of these have a pretty similar installation. But I will say there is a caveat because I mentioned I would be comparing these tools, and I did because I had like some of you guys asked that. I also had some people ask like, hey, how do we host these? Can we host these on Coolify, right? Because if you don't know what Coolify, I've done many videos on Coolify. I personally use Coolify, and I know a lot of you guys either just before watching this use Coolify or maybe even after just got inspired by seeing some of these videos. And actually I even saw some people say that, hey, just from watching your videos, I actually got a server and got Coolify. So that's really cool, guys. I'd love to hear that. But if you go to coolify.io, okay. So this is actually very simple. It's a Vercel, Heroku, Netlify alternative. You can go to self-hosted and you just run this command in your server and you'll get a self-hosted instance of Coolify. And from that point on, you can pretty much self-host almost anything. So if you're anything like me, anytime I'm self-hosting things, I'm always thinking, okay, well, can I put this in Coolify or right? So yeah, I will show you how to, you can do that with all of them. Now I will say the one that I did have the most, like the one that I did have the most trouble hosting within Coolify is Perplexica. And I will say this, guys, pretty much all three of these tools, I wouldn't even like, I mean, you can host it in something like Coolify, but I mean, I don't know if it's really that necessary. The reason being is because, I mean, you could add like a authentication or whatever, like, but they don't natively have like a login or anything like that. So if you just put it on a domain, pretty much if someone has that domain, they could just like access it and then start asking it questions and just running up your API tokens. So yeah, that would just cost you money. You'd be paying for someone else's searches. But I mean, like, so it's, I mean, if you just wanted like kind of use it on a domain you don't think people are going to use, sure, whatever, I'll still show you how to do that. And I actually didn't, I was trying to, like if I really wanted to, I could figure it out, but it was just taking me a little bit too long to try to do it with Perplexica. So basically I was getting it self-hosted, like instance was popping up, but then it wasn't like loading, just like some bugs, whatever. So I'm going to, yeah, not show you how to do on Coolify with Perplexica, but I will mention it with the other two, LLM Engine and Morphic. Okay, but basically with all of them, so let's just say like you're doing it in your terminal, you're just going to clone the repo, and then you're going to go into the repo. You can either do that through the terminal or through the like actual folder GUI, and you're going to take the sample.config.toml file and you're going to change that name to config.toml. And then for Docker setups, you need to only fill in the following fields. And I'm only going to cover Docker setup just because that's the easiest one. And frankly, like Docker's awesome. So you're going to change obviously your OpenAI key, your Ollama key. Actually, your Ollama API URL is either going to be this Docker internal 11434, or sometimes it's localhost right here. And then 11434, and if I'm quickly going through this installation process just so we can get through ranking everything. But if you need it in depth, like seeing me do it, then check out the individual video for the specific one if you're encountering any issues. But I will quickly go through most of like the install process. Okay, Grok API key environment variable, fill that in. Anthropic, boom, and then similarity measures. So this field is filled in by default, so you can, I believe this is just like the cosine or dot product, so, and it's filled in by default. So based on the embedding, how it's going to calculate the similarity. And then ensure you are in the Docker directory containing docker-compose.yaml, and then execute docker compose upd. Also too, guys, if you are installing this, you're going to want to go into docs right here, and then installation, and then networking. And you're also going to want to follow this right here. So you're going to want to go into the Docker, actually before you Docker compose up, you're going to want to go into the docker.yaml file, and you're going to want to change this part where it says args next public API URL, and you're going to want to change this IP address to the IP address of like your server, which is most people's going to be localhost. Yeah, and then you're just going to want to Docker compose up. Okay, and I explained that in the video more in depth too if you encounter issues with that. Okay, if you don't do that, you will encounter issues. But anyways, once you actually get that up, it's going, this is what Perplexica looks like. Okay, so that's Perplexica. And this is Morphic. I'm going to quickly run through the install process. So quick start, fork repo, and then install dependencies. So you can install Morphic with either bun or let's see, so bun install actually, and then you set up upstash Redis. So you're going to create a database and obtain upstash and Redis REST URL. I show you how to do that in the video. Okay, so that's basically for the embedding, I believe. And then and then you're going to fill out the secrets. So yeah, then you're going to put your OpenAI API key, your Tavily API key, which does the retrieval search or the like searching of the web. Pretty good. And then your upstash URL and refs token. And then so this project focuses on generative UI and requires complex output from LLMs. Currently, it's assumed that the official OpenAI models will be used, although it's possible to set up other models if you use an OpenAI compatible model. If you use an OpenAI compatible model, but we don't guarantee that it'll work. Okay, so this one with Morphic, yeah, they don't. Okay, so the Anthropic provider, it says, yeah, they don't guarantee certain models will work, but and then yeah, okay, so I guess it's this one, Morphic. Doing it like this is using bun, so you would need bun installed, and there's different ways to deploy all of these, just saying. So, and I kind of cover that more in my specific video on them, but okay, so what you would do for, just so you know, what you would do for Coolify is, let's see, is this, let me just find my, okay, so Morphic right here. So pretty much with Coolify, you would go into a new resource like this, and then you would go to public repository. And then you would put in the repository URL. But honestly, what I did for like Morphic and LLM Answer Engine is I forked the repo. All I did with changing the fork in the repo is I basically just put variables, and the way you do that is a money sign and then the squiggly brackets right here, and then the name. I put variables for the API keys so that I could just do that. So I wouldn't have to put that like in the actual like fork git repo here. I could just put that in the back end of Coolify right here. So you can see here with this is LLM Answer Engine. I got Brave Search API key, Grok API key, OpenAI API key, Serper API key, Upstash, Vector, and then same thing with Morphic right here. Got OpenAI key, API key, Tavily, Upstash, and there you go, right? So that's basically literally, and then you just use the Docker compose, and then you would put the location right here of the Docker compose, which for okay, so that's Perplexica, which I didn't figure that one out. And then this one for Morphic is just that. And then LLM Answer is basically that, except it's just .yaml without the A. And then it would pull the Docker compose file right here, and then you just add the environment variables there. All right, I'm not like in depth showing you that, just because I'm kind of assuming you somewhat know how to. I'm just explaining the concept, and it works pretty easily out of box with Coolify. Those two, LLM Answer Engine and Morphic. Perplexica, I didn't get it to work. I know I could, but it just requires a lot more configuration, and I just didn't feel like spending that much more time troubleshooting. So anyways, let's see. So back to LLM Answer Engine. So LLM Answer Engine, yeah, honestly guys, they're all very, like, if you're just installing it this way, they're all pretty much the same. I'm honestly going to give them about, for ease of use or ease of install, I'd say like a 9. Okay, I guess that's maybe for me. If you're like really new, I mean, it's pretty easy, to be honest. It's literally just copy and paste. I mean, it could even maybe be like a 9.5. Okay, but they're all pretty similar. The only thing is, like, if you're talking about Coolify, or if you're talking about putting it on a server, then definitely Perplexica is a lot harder. I'm not gonna lie. So maybe I'll just give it an 8, just because it's easy if you're just local hosting it. But like they even say in their GitHub, like it's not meant to be hosted on a server, and all that stuff. So like on a public server. But anyways, user interface and usability. So evaluate the user interface of each tool, check for intuitiveness. Okay, so let's go ahead. And last thing too, before I get into that, I just want to quickly go over the tech stack here so we know what each one is built on. Okay, so let me just close these so I have a bit of, so I don't have so many tabs open and I can easily figure out what we are looking at here. So Perplexica. Okay, cool. So with LLM Answer Engine, this is the stack right here. With, oh no, that was Morphic. And then with LLM Answer Engine, here's the stack. And then does Perplexica have the stack? I think it does. It should have the stack. If it doesn't have the stack, okay, I can pretty much tell you some of the stack. And I think it does have the stack. It should be docs. Architecture, here we go. Okay, so basically here's the architecture slash technology used for all these tools, and they're honestly very similar. So LLM Answer Engine has Next.js, it's running on Next.js, Tailwind, CSS, Vercel AI, SDK, Grok and Mixtral, Langchain.js, Brave Search, Serper API, OpenAI embeddings, Cheerio, Olama, which is optional, Upstash, Redis, Rate, limiting optional, Upstash thematic cache. Okay, so that's for LLM Answer Engine. And then for Morphic, we got Next.js as well, Vercel AI SDK as well, and then generative model OpenAI, and then search API is Tavily or Serper, and then reader API Gina AI, and then serverless dashboard Upstash, and then component library Shad CN. I love that UI. I mean, it's pretty popular. And then headless component primitives Radix UI as well, and then styling Tailwind. And then for the architecture of Perplexica, it is user interface. I believe it's using Next.js as well, and agent chains. And then this, so it's kind of, I mean, they all use their own kind of search, different searches. I mean, the other two, LLM Answer Engine and Morphic, do have the option of Serper here, but it also has Tavily, which is the, I believe, the default one for Morphic. Here, the default one, I believe, is either Brave Search or, I think it's Serper, but yeah, you can like configure which one you want if you want a specific one. And then for Perplexica, it's Cirx NG, however you pronounce it. And it even gives you, like, if you go to port 4000, unless you change the port, you'll be able to see the instance of Cirx NG. It's like a open source search thing. So it's kind of cool. I mean, they all have their own kind of cool setup, and then embedding models as well. But anyways, now that we kind of went over the whole install and the architecture of each individual one, let's actually look at them. All right, so this part is somewhat going to be a little bit, I don't want to say biased, but it's like my own personal preference, as well as just like and then also like obviously some objectability. Yeah, so LLM Answer Engine, so this is kind of the interface. You got the questions here, the message here, you got the new like a new chat here, and yeah, I'll quickly ask it a question like this, and here we go. So I mentioned in my video before, I really like how like if you ask it something like this, it's going to embed a usable stock tracker right here. Like this is through TradingView, so that's really cool. You got these sources here, and then you can ask follow-ups. All right, and then here's the responses, and then you can actually just like filter through the images here as well as the videos here. So that's LLM Answer Engine, pretty cool. And then Morphic, so let's go ahead and ask it. Let's just ask it the same question, because why not? So we're gonna ask it this, which is how's Apple stock doing these days? And let's see what we get. So also too, like I can kind of mention like different things. Okay, so definitely a lot shorter of an answer, I believe. Not too much shorter. This is definitely bigger font, but I'd say it's definitely a little bit shorter. Doesn't have the like the actual embeddable thing here. And then you can ask it follow-up related questions here and a follow-up. Yeah, so both of those have that. Now let's try Perplexica. So first off, Perplexica, I'd say probably looks the most like Perplexity, because it literally says research begins here. Perplexity says where knowledge begins. And then it literally has the like you can change like the search area here. So academic, writing, Reddit, YouTube, Wolfram. Not these other ones, you can't do that. So yeah, I do like that about Perplexica. Like you can like specific, like if you only want academic papers, or you only want writing, or you only want Reddit or YouTube, you can do that with Perplexica. And I mean, it's even in the name Perplexica. It's like pretty much the most of a Perplexity alternative, or Perplexity replica. There we go. Perplexica. It's a replica of Perplexity, right? So anyways, let's just go ahead and ask this real quick. And I'm going to speed run through the rest of these questions because I don't want to make this video too long. And I'll also add some timestamps here too. So if you really want to like check out a specific one, whatever, you can. Okay, so here we go. Boom. Yeah, it looks the most like Perplexity. The UI. Honestly, I like the, I'm just going to be straight up, but I really like the UI of Perplexica the best. I'm just going to give Perplexica like a 9. Morphic, I like the UI. Okay, well, actually, it's hard. Okay, so I do really like, out of this, if we're talking about the specific search, I really like how it embedded this. So LLM Answer Engine does get a few like bonus points for that. Neither one of Perplexica or Morphic did something like that. The UI is definitely nicer, in my opinion. Like just the sleekness on, I like Perplexica first probably, then like these two are like, I probably like Morphic a little bit more, but this one's not bad either. So like I'll give maybe Morphic like a 7 or 8, and LLM Answer Engine like a 7. And then let's just go to features. It's not perfect, guys. Like I just want to kind of definitely say that. So features, I'm not going to cover all the features because it would take too long, and I don't want to make this video too long. One thing I just will say though is, okay, so Perplexica, the thing is, I don't know, maybe you guys, it works for you, but if I go to discover here, I always been getting this 404 page not found. Maybe it's like I'm not setting something up right. So yeah, if you know the fix for that, or you figured that out, let me know. I didn't like dive deep and try to figure it out. But yeah, that's where it should show, like over here, like in Perplexity, it should show like recent trending news and stuff. So anyways, then we got the library. So just in general, like Perplexica just has more stuff. These other ones just have the chat. This also has the library of your recent ones, where you can delete them, etc. And it may or may not have this discovery. It has it, but I don't know if you guys have it working or not. So here we got settings, so you can change like dark theme. Obviously I love dark theme. And then you can change your chat model. You can do a custom model, and then you could select your model here. You can change like your embedding model, so you could do llama. You can change your text model, embedding text model, and then a llama API key, Grok API key, and Anthropic API key. So you can do those as well, right? So I'm gonna run through these because this video is getting kind of long here. So features, I would say I'll give Perplexica like a 8. And I'm not gonna compare them based on Perplexity. Honestly, Perplexity, like, I don't even know if I'll be able to do that one right now. It's like, it's definitely up there. Like, it's definitely up there with like a lot of these, in my opinion. A lot of you maybe a lot of you disagree, but it's definitely down there with price, just because obviously it's the only paid one, and it's not open source, but you can't like self-host it. Features with Morphic, we'll give it a 7, and LLM Answer Engine, we'll give it a 7 as well. So Perplexica is a little bit and here we see the averages right here, guys. So you can see Perplexica is like in the lead a bit, just by a bit. And then let's go to performance and speed. So okay, let's go to performance and speed. So okay, I'm gonna do a search one more time on each of these, and I'm going to use my very professional special eye timing measurement. Like, I'm literally just gonna eyeball it and then like kind of give you a rough estimate. We're not doing this perfect here. I just clicked on a random one. Okay, so this honestly, guys, like, look at this. Like, this is LLM Answer Engine. Like, I didn't even, it gives me shopping results. Like, it's actually more intuitive for like specific customized searches, like where it will change the interface. I may have to bump it up a couple points. I'm gonna bump it up one more point on usability, so it's definitely at least an 8. It's like, I can't give it a 9 just because it doesn't have, I don't know, I couldn't maybe even bump it up. It's pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. Like, in terms of searching, it gives you more like kind of cool UIs like that, so I do like that. But like I said, it's not gonna be perfect. We're gonna move on, and it was pretty fast. So let's go to Morphic. Let's just ask it, like, let's go back and let's just ask it this. Okay, 1, 2. I'd say this one's probably pretty fast though too. Also too, keep in mind, guys, it does depend on like what model you're using. So this is a little bit biased, like, or this is like just biased based on the model. What is GPT-4o mini? I really like how it has Copilot here. Oh, it's also different too because Perplexica is the only one I'm running on my local host, opposed from on a server at the moment, right? Okay, so let's just say performance and speed. I mean, they're all pretty good. I'll give them all like an 8 or like a 7. I'll give them a 7. I'll give them all tied with a 7, just based on like, I'd say, yeah, they're all pretty good. All right, it's like not a professional rating there. And then customization and flexibility. So Perplexica allows, like, it's like these other ones, they don't have like even like a settings really. Like, they don't have much of a UI in terms of that. It's really just the search function. So you can customize it within the config. So it does, all of them really do have great customization, to be honest. I'll just get, like, honestly, I'll give Perplexica like maybe a 1 up, just because it has, like, I like how you can change it in the settings. Some people may like that. Some people are like, nah, I just like changing it in the code or whatever, which I get. But I'll just give like Perplexica like an 8 maybe, and then these ones a 7. All right. And then documentation and support, and then resource utilization. So let's just look at quickly, like, we'll do a very in-depth, no, we're not going to do it in-depth. We're just going to quickly look at some of their, so honestly, all of them have pretty good docs in terms of, let's just see here, Morphic. So I'm just going to their actual repos here. We have 23 issues here, 49 in Perplexica, and then 30 in Morphic. So 107 were closed in Morphic, 155 were closed in Perplexica, 26 were closed in LLM Answer Engine. So I'd say like terms of popularity, just based on that, it looks like Perplexica is a little bit more popular. Morphic's getting up there in terms of just like people using it, or at least having issues. I guess it's really issues, so that's not really a great metric to go on. But just in terms of like, yeah, it's a rough metric. And then LLM Answer Engine is definitely a little bit less popular, I'd say. But they're like, and I've looked at the docs, and I don't know if I'm in every. I think some of them have like a community, maybe a Discord or something. I'm not gonna like go in depth and check that. It's this ranking. It's not gonna be. It's honestly just. I'll give it like. I'm just gonna keep it pretty similar, even. Because it's really it's kind of a hard metric, at least to really go off of right away. So I'll just give them all an 8. And then resource utilization, they're all pretty good. There's really no like, I'll give them like a 8 as well, because they're all pretty good. There's not one of them that's like really resource intensive. So at least from what I've seen, they're all pretty lightweight. And yeah, so that is, and then like if we were to compare like Perplexity, it's hosted on the cloud, document support, like we could just say like if Perplexica is a 10 as an example, or Perplexity, I'm not gonna give Perplexity a rating for all, but basically guys, just on these ratings, as you can see from my ratings, they're all kind of close. They're all kind of close based on the metrics. They are very similar. In this rating, that definitely is like 100% accurate, 100% perfect. Of course, as you guys can see, we really went in and measured everything. I'm just joking, but yeah, this rating, I got Perplexica a bit in the lead, and then LLM Answer Engine and Morphic are actually tied. And I'd say that's probably, in my opinion, like how I feel when using them. Just because Perplexica, it's just like a Perplexity clone. It's the closest thing you get. And if you like Perplexity, like I liked Perplexity, and I'm still using Perplexity right now, then Perplexica just it's an easy transition. And then I like the dark UI. They're all dark UI, but I like the UI of Morphic, and I like both Morphic and LLM Answer Engine. But LLM Answer Engine, just like, honestly, if it didn't have that nice features with when you search things, I probably would be leaning more towards Morphic. But because like the LLM Answer Engine, I'm personally like, I don't think it looks like a crazy beautiful UI and everything like that, but it does give you those really cool customization, like those really cool things pop up, like the graph or this or that, like the shopping when you do specific searches. So I gotta give them that. Like, that's really good. All in all, guys, all these tools are really good. I'd definitely say try each one of them out for yourself. But I just hope this kind of gave you some sort of benchmarks. And maybe while I went through this, I know it wasn't perfect in terms of like me really like spending so much time like really analyzing, and like it's kind of like it's not so easy as well to completely get an exact answer for each one of these rankings. But hopefully it kind of gives you, since we went through that and kind of took a look, it will give you some ideas of what to look for, and maybe help, like I said from the start, it helps you decide which one is your best bet for your Perplexity alternative, right? So maybe you can save some money on Perplexity. You don't have to pay for it. You can save 20 bucks a month, hopefully. Or you can still use Perplexity, but also supplement it with these. Maybe you like using Olama, like using the local models, and all that good stuff. And maybe you still do want to host it on Coolify. Who knows, right? Like I told you guys, I did show you guys and mentioning briefly, like, hey, this is how you do it with Coolify, with LLM Answer Engine and Morphic. I know you can do it with Perplexica. It's just, I personally didn't spend as much time figuring it out, because like at the end of the day, you're really not necessarily supposed to, but you could. But like I said, if you do it, people could go to your link if they figure it out, and they could just run up your credits, unless you added like authentication yourself, which you could do. But that just adds a little bit more complexity if you're new. Anyways, that is it for this video. I know it's been a long one. I'm gonna add timestamps so you can go through. But other than that, guys, if you're new here and you got some value here, make sure to smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. Like I said, guys, we upload videos every single day. We're continuing improving the channel. Really appreciate, all the growth and all the people showing support and commenting and suggesting videos, because yeah, like if you actually suggest a video, there's a chance I may actually like do a video on it, right? I do a video every day, so when I have time, I look at the comments and I'll see, and etc, etc. So and if you guys do ask a question and I don't reply right away or whatever, I try to get back to as many comments as I can, just letting you know. But I also run a business and everything like that. I'm very busy, so I have like clients and all that stuff. If you don't know, I talk about that in some of my other videos, what I actually do. But also too, guys, if you're new here and you haven't already joined our free community, stridecommunity.com, link for that will be in the description down below. We have about 750, 800 members in our free Discord channel and our free Facebook group, where you can network with like-minded entrepreneurs, AI enthusiasts, myself as well, and get some access to some free additional resources. Also too, guys, if you haven't already checked on my book, Client Acquisition Code, and you need help getting more appointments in your calendar, growing your business, I have a full book on that. It's in depth. Took me a long time to get that written and all that stuff. Took me years, a couple years. Other than that, it's in the description down below. You can check that out, and I will see you. And let me know what your thoughts are, guys. What is your favorite Perplexity alternative? And hey, is there any other videos you want me to make? Let me know. I will see you in tomorrow's video, guys. Keep hustling, keep grinding, and of course, guys, accelerate your stride. Take care.